Hello and welcome. Fantastic to have you here at Nuts and Bolts. We've got a great session on today. Today is all about, I'm going to talk to you about resilience because obviously in the current environment and situation that we're in resilience is going to be called upon with regards to us, isn't it? We're going to be able to show our resilience, and sometimes that's easier said than done, right? So I wanted to talk to you about what resilience is, and then I'm going to talk to you about how I determine where my resilience is and when I think I'm losing it, and then what I need to do to put it back into place, because it will be tested. You know, if not this week, next week, it will be tested, believe you me. So what do we do about it? What are the things that I put in place to try and get my resilience back on track? Because resilience is like a muscle, like any muscle. And with any muscle that you have, the more you exercise it, the bigger and better it becomes and the stronger it becomes. And that's the same with our resilience. It's like a muscle. So the more that we can exercise it and find things to make it work better, then the stronger it's going to become. And we're going to be able to bounce back from adversity a lot quicker. So what is resilience? I've got this in my notes here. Resilience is the ability to withstand, recover, or grow in the face of pressure and changing demands. So let me say that again. Resilience is the ability to withstand, recover, and grow in the face of pressure and changing demands. Now, are we under pressure and looking at changing demands at the moment? I think most of us are, right? Most of us, everything's changing, you know, and pivoting really in small time. So we're learning to do things differently. We're forced to learn new technologies that we may never have used before. We're forced into a position where we weren't in the same position a couple of months ago. You might be working from home. You might be working part home, part not. You might be homeschooling kids that you've never done. You might find yourself really isolated, remote and alone, all these sorts of things, right? So this is absolutely a time of adversity, of where we have to try and think, how are we going to recover? How are we going to bounce back? And how are we going to grow from this? So let me tell you, first off, you need to determine what your resilience looks like. So what I mean by that is, when my resilience starts to wane, when it starts to diminish, when I'm feeling a bit low, I know that because I get what I call a Swiss cheese brain. So what I find is I find myself forgetting things and forgetting names, and I get this brain fog, and I find it really difficult to plan ahead and all sorts of things. Okay, I start to feel really anxious, and I know that now, right? Like I'm 50, right? So it's taken me a while to get there, but I know that now, and I can listen to those triggers and go, okay, all right, my resilience is being tested here. So what do I need to put in place to not only take care of myself, but also to be able to grow and bounce back from this? So what do I need to do? So when I start getting that brain fog, that forgetfulness, that level of anxiety, that feeling of almost flight and fight, if you like. So what do I do about that? So there's a couple of things. Once I've recognized that I am in a struggle mode, and then I have to put things into place to keep my head above water and to make me feel like I'm going to be okay. So these are the things that I do. First off, I have a look on what's on my plate with regards to work-wise, home-wise, you know, all those sorts of things. And I prioritize them, because there's some things that might be stressing you out right now that you don't have to think about for a couple of weeks. So put them aside. There might be big tasks that are due in a couple of months, but you're going to bite those down into chunks, right? Bite-sized pieces. So this week, say you've got uni stuff coming up. This week, I'm going to look at putting my introduction together. Next week, I'm going to look at what references I'm going to use. The week after, I'm going to do a bit of investigating of you know, what I need to do, and do some, you know, pre-work or whatever it may be. So you're going to bite it down into little tiny pieces and just do it that way. So everything that I've got on my plate, I prioritize. I throw away the stuff that I don't need to look at for a couple of months, and I just keep the stuff that I need, and then I chunk it down into little tiny pieces so that I'm only looking a day in advance, not a week or a month in advance. Because when I look at that week and that month in advance, when I'm at a point where my resilience is low, I start to feel anxiety and I don't get anything done. and my brain goes into Swiss cheese, right? So I know that I need to chunk it down and just do one day at a time, because I know that when I chunk it down and I've planned it all out, by the time everything's due, it'll be done. So I don't have to worry about that. All I have to worry about is what I have to do today. And then when I wake up tomorrow, it's what do I have to do today? And then when I wake up tomorrow, it's what do I have to do today? So it's really, really important for me to just take one day at a time when I'm feeling that my resilience is being tested, right? I try not to look at the big picture, because if I look at the big picture too much and all those tasks that I've got to do in that time period, I get overwhelmed, right? So I can't look at the big picture at that stage. I need to just take one day at a time, and then every now and then you can pull your head up, take a deep breath in, but don't look forwards, look backwards to all the stuff that you've been able to complete over that week. Wow, I never thought I'd get here. I'm a little bit closer to getting that stuff done, but I'm here now, and now I just put my head back down and go one day at a time. So I've done that for probably 3 or 4 weeks, just to get me through what I consider was a really tough period. And that I've done that several times now, and it's worked for me. Like, just head down one day at a time, chunk it down, piece it down. And then what the biggest thing that you have to remember to do is celebrate your success. So when you get to that 3rd week, and you've done your uni assignment, and you've done that priority for work, and you've done those other bits and pieces that you've done that you needed to do, you can put your head up and go, oh, send, that's done, that's done, that's done. I got through it, yes. And do you know what? Your resilience is even tougher now. And celebrate that, because that is fantastic. Not only were you able to overcome these levels of anxiety and stress and pressure that you've put yourself into, you've been able to work through it, you've known what your triggers were, and you've been able to get a solution, and you've come out the other side. So well done to you. Great job. That's what you've got to do. Celebrate that for yourself. So I hope that helps for you, because we're going to find ourselves and our resilience tested if we haven't had that already. So what are you going to do? What are you going to put in place? And what are your triggers? So number 1, what are your triggers? When do you know that you're feeling like this? Number 2, what are you going to put in place? Is it something similar to what I've done here? It works for me. Maybe it'll work for you. Maybe you have to do some different things. But whatever works for you, make sure you have a plan, and you will get through it just like I did. All right. So I hope that helped. And remember, if you've got any issues or concerns or worries, just let us know here at ask@teamleadertoolkit.com. We'll be able to put a video just like this together and throw it in your general direction. And hopefully it'll give you a multitude of solutions. But until next week, you take care, have a brilliant week, and we'll speak to you soon. Cheers. Thanks. And bye for now.